The tool returned an empty string, which means the word count is within the target range. I can now output the final result, marking the forest ground with deliberate precision. A solitary builder outlines his future sanctuary in the wild, carefully digging deep trenches to transform the raw earth into a highly structured foundation. Hauling heavy sacks of stone, the rough materials are systematically laid one by one to secure the base. Each rock finds its proper place through patient adjustment. This is not merely piling rocks, but establishing the very bones of his wilderness estate, where every stone serves a purpose in the emerging structure, mixing the natural binder. A deep pit is excavated to process the adhesive, sifting dry soil to separate fine earth from coarse debris. Adding water, the mixture transforms into a viscous brown mortar under continuous stirring. Smearing this paste into the stone crevices, the structural integrity of the masonry is firmly secured. This ancient technique ensures that every gap is filled, binding the stones together with remarkable strength and durability for the enduring structure. Laying the stone walls, mortar is applied to the stone edges before precise alignment, embedding angular rocks into critical load-bearing positions to form a semi-enclosed space. Bundling dead branches horizontally into the masonry. This ancient technique reinforces the stone matrix with natural tension. It is not just stacking stones, but weaving organic fibers into the fortress. Resuming the heavy toil. After a brief respite by the water bucket, the builder excavates deeper and hoists massive boulders onto predetermined bases. Dragging a colossal log, he balances the timber atop the stone walls, while carefully guiding slabs over the trench. The skeletal framework of the primitive shelter is finally taking form through absolute precision, an unwavering focus as the sun sets on his achievement. Shaping the wooden arch. A naturally curved trunk is hauled back to serve as the main archway, utilizing a rope pulling system to suspend the heavy timber across the stone walls. Shaping tenons at the wood ends. Every axe strike is deliberate and precise, while a hand auger bores holes to reveal joint depth. This is not mere carpentry, but engineering a perfect physical interlock for lasting structural stability. Assembling the frame structure. Vertical logs are aligned using pre-drilled mortises, leveraging body weight to accelerate drilling before erecting the wooden framework against the stone wall. A rectangular window opening is carefully reserved and adjusted for flatness, while thick mortar is squeezed to seal the arch tightly. The overall silhouette of the sanctuary now stands resolute against the forest. The pristine curved wood spans the opening as the main arch bay. Using a simple wooden lever, he hoists a massive stone onto the wall with precision. He caps the structure with a giant slab, carefully sealing gaps with clay slurry to weatherproof the fortress roof, cultivating wilderness life. A fire is kindled in the hearth as the builder fetches water from the creek, sitting on a sheepskin to savor a hot meal while smoke vents steadily. Tilling a small plot on the slope, Pea seedlings are planted and carefully covered with soil. This is not merely surviving the wild, but putting down permanent roots in nature. The arduous task of felling the giant timber begins in earnest. A sharp axe carves a precise notch into the trunk base before the manual saw takes over, demanding every ounce of strength from the builder. With final vigorous strokes, the massive tree crashes down onto the forest grass with a resounding thud. The heavy raw log is hauled to the shelter, where thick bark is expertly stripped away to expose the pale wood beneath. This primary roof beam is now fully prepared for lifting into its final place. To raise the main beam, a rope is cast over a high branch. Using the principle of a movable pulley, he plants his feet and pulls with force, slowly lifting the heavy timber. Against a misty backdrop, the beam is precisely set upon the stone wall and newly erected pillars. The builder fills earth around the base to stabilize the structure. Inside the stone house, he digs a deep pit for drainage, while a Labrador watches curiously from afar. Pouring clear water into the hole, he steps in to stomp and mix the mud. When the playful dog tries to jump in, he gently strokes its head to keep it out, ensuring the interior foundation is firmly prepared. Forging the wooden pegs, striking the beam joints ensures a perfect fit into the pillar slots, while straight poles harvested from the dense jungle provide raw materials. Sitting on a hide, a manual drill bores holes to calibrate the pegs, which are then driven into crossholes high on the beam. This is not using modern nails, but relying on pure mechanical friction. The precision of this joinery demands patience, as each component must align seamlessly without the aid of metal fasteners. Every strike is deliberate, ensuring structural integrity through traditional craftsmanship alone. Building the stone chimney. Wooden boards are laid on the roof as the base for the flue, stacking stones meticulously upwards to form the smokestack. Smearing thick mortar on the chimney top. Flat stone flakes are selected for edging before releasing the ropes to confirm stability. The chimney seamlessly blends with the rustic stone aesthetic of the shelter. Thatching the eco-roof begins with meticulous care. Circular wood slices of varying diameters are attached beneath the eaves like a decorative mosaic, creating a striking visual pattern. Meanwhile, an old wooden rake is carefully repaired with newly sharpened fine sticks driven into its head. Dried hay is raked on the grass into neat bundles, then pitched onto the roof and thoroughly mixed with dry soil and water to form a dense layer. This is not just a roof, but a living, breathing canopy of insulation that regulates temperature naturally through its organic composition. Trekking through the rocky creek bed, the builder spots layered sedimentary rocks. With a small hammer, he taps along the fissures to pry loose a massive thin slab. After washing away the mud, he hauls the heavy stones back to camp. A loyal dog follows with curiosity as he carries the load. Back at the site, the slabs are stacked neatly. He pours water onto a pile of earth, mixing fresh mortar for the interior work. This is not gathering random rocks, but carefully selecting perfect tiles for the floor. The process requires patience and strength, as each stone must be chosen with precision to ensure a durable foundation for the shelter. Paving the interior floor begins. The builder lays flat slabs onto the mortar base, carefully adjusting each angle to ensure tight alignment. Excess clay squeezes out from the edges as he smooths the seams with the trowel, filling irregular gaps with smaller stones for a seamless finish. Outdoors, he sets up a log frame and saws through the wood with intense focus, sending chips flying. Back at the station, large slabs are placed on the wooden rack for comparison. With a chisel, he strikes along marked lines to shape the stone edges into uniform precision. Through these meticulous steps, the rough interior foundation is transformed into a solid level surface ready for the next phase of construction. The visual aesthetics are elevated with meticulous care and precision. Wiping away excess dirt reveals the raw texture of the stone workbench, seamlessly integrating the newly paved floor and outdoor station with the surrounding forest environment. Dense wood slices are pressed onto the vertical mud wall, where the intricate annual rings add profound visual art to the dim interior space. Placing flat stones on the mortar for the grand arched window finally completes the refined design perfectly now. Framing the window openings, carrying heavy buckets of mortar into the dim interior, the builder kneels on the muddy floor to level it, then lays large primitive slabs one by one. Outdoors, he stands beside a massive fallen tree, sawing a curved trunk into optimal structural pieces with effort. Back inside, he bores holes into wooden strips with a hand drill, the mechanical cranking echoing in the quiet forest as he measures dimensions through the square wall opening. The raw materials for the glass window are now fully prepared. Crafting the glass pane begins with precision. 4 cut wooden squares are carefully assembled into a rectangular frame, with diagonal balance checked meticulously before pre-assembling the structure into the window slot to ensure a smooth and secure fit. A large glass sheet is laid upon the wooden bench, where precise lines are drawn using a scale, and the cutting tool scores the surface with sharp accuracy. A gentle snap breaks the glass perfectly along the line, bringing much-needed clarity and transparency to the fortress walls. He uses small wooden strips as glazing beads, tapping them gently with a hammer to secure the glass in place. Through the small window, he tests the view, carefully framing the green shadows of trees outside. Next, decorative wooden trim is fitted around the grand arched window, sealing the large opening as warm sunlight pours through the arch. Wiping the stone workbench clean, the tranquil labor finally bears its sweet fruit in this quiet, peaceful moment. Forging the solid door begins with careful precision. The doorway height is measured accurately before 2 thick, dry logs are dragged from the deep forest. Standing them upright, the bark is stripped away, and thick planks are split precisely along the grain. Grooves are chiseled into the crossbeam, while holes are drilled into wooden boards. A round wooden peg is driven in with a stone hammer to lock components tight. This is not merely a simple door, but a true masterpiece of mortise and tenon craftsmanship. In the verdant garden, the builder carefully selects ripe cherry tomatoes, wiping them on his shirt before tasting the fresh fruit. With a hunting knife, he slices zucchini and potatoes into uniform pieces, arranging the colorful vegetables neatly upon a cold stone slab. The builder then slides this laden stone into the fiery depths of a stone oven, where glowing embers roar beneath. Finally, he retrieves the corn and vegetables, now slightly charred and fragrant, as their savory aroma seems to permeate the very air. The builder carefully selects sturdy branches from a nearby woodpile. Using a folding saw, he trims away the excess length with precision. Then, with a hand axe, he shaves off the rough outer bark, revealing the smooth, pale wood beneath. 3 prepared legs are inserted into the drilled seat holes, their angles meticulously adjusted to ensure stability. Protruding wooden wedges are sawn flush, creating a perfectly smooth surface. The first stool gradually takes shape, transforming raw, natural materials into crafted comfort. Testing the crafted stool. Sitting on the newly built stool, the builder shifts his weight to confirm its sturdiness, grabbing a handful of raw hazelnuts from the stone table to carefully peel the green shells. Chewing the rich kernels with deep satisfaction, the rest period concludes in quiet darkness, marking the end of a well-earned break. The wilderness life offers its own simple, profound rewards. Salvaging unique timber, stopping at a massive partially rotted trunk, the builder evaluates its weight and texture before a final heavy chop, sends the log rolling down the slope with a thunderous crash. Hauling the giant raw log to the shelter, he brushes off loose dirt, then uses a hand auger to bore holes into the curved beam. This is not gathering firewood, but rescuing a vital structural piece for the future frame. The builder leans over the stone hut window, embedding short wood strips into the curved frame to refine the bench back rest. At the slope edge, he digs deep pits with a shovel, displaying immense physical endurance and patience. A long horizontal log is spanned between 2 pillars, allowing the defensive structure to emerge. He chisels grooves into the uprights and hammers wooden wedges tight to lock the framework. This labor is not merely building a fence, but fortifying the perimeter of the sanctuary against the wild. Lashing the wooden palisade, wrapping a thick rope around the horizontal beam, the builder executes the first complex and tight binding. Kneeling on the ground, he patiently ties dozens of thin sticks at fixed intervals to form a dense row. Cutting the excess rope ends with a sharp knife, he rises to inspect the overall verticality with a satisfied gaze. The rustic wooden fence now stands as a striking visual boundary for the camp, paving the entrance path. The first massive stone slab is pressed firmly into the wet mortar. After laying the final piece, a natural trail leads deep into the camp. Stone edges are tapped with a wooden mallet, while gaps are carefully filled with soil. This meticulous work elevates the entire camp environment, swinging into leisure time. Sawing a fallen deadwood horizontally, the sawdust flies with every stroke, splitting the wood block on the outdoor bench to achieve the perfect size for the swing seat. Boring holes at the 4 corners of the board, the manual drilling maintains a steady rhythm while testing the horizontal level. A simple swing brings a touch of playfulness to the rugged camp. He spreads turf tightly on the roof, his white dog keeping company at the edge. At the outdoor station, he peels birch bark for tinder as the hearth blazes with a vigorous and roaring flame. The builder returns to the outdoor station, meticulously rubbing ground spices over the whole rabbit, with professional focus. The marinated meat is placed directly on the grill, where dripping fat ignites the charcoal into lively flames, turning the flesh a tempting golden brown. Sitting at the table, he tears into the roast with evident satisfaction, while his dog watches the feast with eager, longing eyes. Afterward, he steps out to the stone hut's bench, gently stroking the approaching Labrador, savoring the absolute tranquility earned after the hearty meal.